Welcome back to Predicting the NFL with Mickey G, and I'd first like to start out with the fact that I did better than 500. This is great, guys. This is epic. Can we hit 7 likes? Crazy stuff. So that's exciting. The first time I did not go 500. Probably because it was the first games that had a bye week. So if they would have played a game, I probably would have got that one wrong, then making it 8-8. But instead, that's not the case. So 8-7 I went, and I am quite proud of that fact. Which takes my total this year to 31-32. Now, I was 2 for 3 in the special games this week. I got the game of the week correct. The Rams were able to beat the Vikings quite easily. So now 3-1 there. I was correct in the crap fest. The Texans were able to beat the Colts. So that is 2-2 there now, which is pretty great. And then 2-2 in the upset because I was incorrect in that the Dolphins were going to beat the Patriots. Should not have picked them to lose 3 times in a row. That was poor decision making on my part. So that was a very, very big bummer. Jaguars won, so that was pretty epic and a pretty easy win against the Jets. So that was good stuff. The Raiders beat the Browns in an overtime win that should have never happened, considering the fact that the Browns had a first down and they didn't give it to them. And then because of this, the Browns, turned the ball over, and then the Raiders were able to, get some more points, and the Browns were unable to get more points, causing us to go to overtime. If that had not happened, the Browns would have won the game, and, well, that's just a Browns kind of thing to do, isn't it? So, the Ravens beat the Steelers in a very disappointing game for them. Le'Veon Bell, however, has said he's going to come back week 7, which is the Steelers' bye week. So all of you people who have him on their fantasy team, get excited for week 8. That'll be the first game he plays. I don't know if he's going to start. I mean, I personally probably wouldn't start him because he's being a butthead, but that's just my personal opinion here. The Chiefs, they beat the Broncos in a closer game than expected. Good job, Case. Even though it was basically the running game and had nothing to do with him. The Bengals were able to beat the Falcons, which was, once again, the 4th week in a row that I have incorrectly picked the Bengals game. So that's very frustrating. Hopefully this week I get it right. The Bills were back to their usual form, and they got destroyed by the Packers. The Titans upset the Eagles, and that's dumb, and now they're like 3-1, something stupid like that. And it's really frustrating because they're tied with the Actually, no, they're ahead of the Jaguars because they beat them, and then there's a bunch of stupid stuff like that. The Chargers beat San Francisco in their first game without Jamie G in a closer victory than expected. The Bears beat the Buccaneers in a quite decisive victory. Jameis Winston entered the game and immediately threw an interception because he's bad. So there was that. And then the Cowboys beat the Lions. So at this point, we still have no idea whether or not the Lions are a good team or not, because they will beat good teams like the Patriots, but then lose to the Cowboys. So I'm very confused as to what's going on in that area. The Seahawks beat the Cardinals in a close game where Josh Rosen got his first start and played a pretty decent game. So good job, Josh Rosen. And then finally, the Saints beat up on the Giants, and Alvin Kamara went off as usual. So that's really all that happened this week. Not much to recap. Not as exciting things going on. Vance McDonald had another big play there, but was not enough to get the Steelers to win. Now it's time for the predictions. The first game on the list is the Colts at New England. Now, New England's coming off a really big win against the Dolphins, and I think they're going to stay hot here, considering that the Colts just lost to the Texans, who previously had no wins. So I'm going to go with the Patriots here in an easy win over the Colts, who have been struggling to really get anything going. Next is the Titans at Buffalo. And yes, sadly, this means that the Titans are going to get another victory. No one is surprised. They're going to beat the Bills, which means, yes, they're going to have 4 wins. And preferably if the Jaguars win this week, they will still be behind them in the division. Next, we have the Dolphins at Cincinnati. Now, Cincinnati has proved that they can win games and they can win them well, just not the ones that I picked them to win. And they are against the Dolphins team, who just got destroyed by the Patriots. So I think the Bengals are going to continue this trend of playing well. They're going to beat the Dolphins here considerably, or they're not going to, because screw you. But I am picking them to win, so hopefully that means they do. And finally, I will be correct about a pick this year about the Bengals. Our next game is Baltimore at Cleveland. Now, Browns are an interesting team. They play well, and then just stupid things happen, and they don't end up winning. It is just very, very dumb. And then there's the Ravens, who have played really well, except for against the Bengals, where they were horrible, and I just didn't understand what happened that week. It's going to be difficult to call, because anything can really happen, but I do believe the Vikings, their defense has been playing well. They haven't allowed a second half touchdown this year, which is a really good stat to have. And usually the Browns, it's the second half that kills them. I think we're going to definitely have to go with the Ravens here, getting the victory. Now, next is our game of the week. Yes, this is Jacksonville at Kansas City. Now, it's going to be difficult to pick here because Jacksonville's away and they lost to the Titans, okay? But they're still a very good team, and I'm still very proud of them. And one of the big players for the Chiefs is Travis Kelce, right? And the Jaguars were able to shut down Gronkowski, who is better than Travis Kelce. Okay? See where I'm going with this? So I think if the Jaguars are able to shut down Kelce, and if the corners play how they usually do, and their run defense plays well, as usual, then I think they can get this win if they stop the Chiefs' offense. Because their defense isn't as good. Now, if Bortles plays how he did last week, having 388 passing yards, which is the most of his career, then I think the Jaguars definitely have the ability to win this game. And they're my boys. You know? So I think they do. I'm picking the Jaguars here to getting this dub in the game of the week against the Chiefs. Our next game, Case Keenum and the Broncos at Sam Darnold and the Jets. Now, the Jets just came off a hard loss to the Jaguars, and the Broncos showed that they could kind of keep up almost with the Chiefs. This is good for the Broncos, okay? They've proven that their running game is stellar. Very good. However, this is an away game, so I don't know how well Philip Lindsay is going to play. But I assume he's going to get out of his Colorado head or whatever. He's going to be able to play well here. Broncos are going to do well against the Jets defense that isn't that great, and just allowed 388 passing yards from Blake Bortles. And they're going to get the win here. Case Keenum, good job. Very proud. Our next is the final game of the AFC, and the Raiders at the Chargers. Now, this is a Chargers team. It's looking decent, right? And a Raiders team is coming off their first win of the season under John Gruden. This is exciting stuff. However, they've almost lost to the Browns, which they're still the Browns, and so you got to take that, with a grain of salt here. Chargers, however, playing decent. Their offense is really good. Their defense is the only thing that's struggling, and sometimes the Raiders' offense struggles as well. So I think that they're able to do well, and Phillip Rivers, Melvin Gordon, and all those guys, they get it done here and get a victory in Los Angeles. Our two AFC NFC games. The first is the Falcons at Pittsburgh. Now, Falcons just coming off a loss here against the Bengals. And the Steelers might be mad after this loss to the Ravens, their rivals. Falcons, they've been struggling this year. They haven't always been able to play to the performance that they want. The Steelers, their defense is not looking very good. However, it has been getting progressively better. as the season's gone on. Steelers' offense is playing really well. Ben's playing really well besides week 1. And so I believe the Steelers, they continue this trend, and they win against the Falcons. Next, we have the Cowboys at the Texans. Now, this is the Battle of Texas right here. We got Dallas over here, who just got a victory against the Lions. And we got Texans who have their first victory of the year. They're going to be riding off that. Sean Watson's going to have his confidence now that he can win a game here. They're going to come together. And the Texans are going to beat the Cowboys in a decisive victory, boosting them up and making them feel a lot better about this season. Moving on to the NFC, we have the Giants at Carolina. Now, Carolina has been playing a lot better than expected. Cam Newton's being more free about his movements and what he does, not trying to make him a pocket passer anymore. Christian McCaffrey has been playing excellent. Very good. You know, the receivers getting into the game. They've been doing well even without Greg Olsen. Defense is playing okay. And then there's the Giants who have no offensive line. They've been struggling to move on offense. Eli's getting a little old. You know, it's being a little difficult. Their defense is subpar. So I think Carolina's going to continue their trend of winning. They're going to win here over the Giants. Next, we have the Green Bay Packers at Detroit. Now, Detroit, they're a very confusing team, but they're interesting because they have a decent passing attack and they're starting to get a good rushing attack. They haven't had a good rushing attack since like Barry Sanders, okay? Just crazy. And then there's the Packers who, after their shocking loss to the Redskins, they bounced back, they destroyed the Bills, they started to look better. And Aaron Rodgers and them, they're still lucky as heck on offense. So they're going to continue this trend. They're going to win this division battle, and they're going to move on in this game. Next, we have our upset of the week. We have the Vikings at the Eagles. Now, the Eagles have been another interesting team. They've either played really well or they haven't played well at all. This is Carson Wentz's third game, and he's been struggling a little bit. They haven't played like they did last year. The Vikings have also been struggling a little bit. They had a tie. They've had 2 losses. They only have 1 win on the season right now. Crazy stuff. But they've been played in some pretty difficult teams. So I think after a nice battle against the Rams, where they learn what they can do to be a better team and play well against a really good team, then they can play well against a team that's not as good in the Packers. I think Kirk Cousins goes out there, he continues to play well, and he gets this win against the Eagles. Next, we have our crap fest of the week with the Cardinals at the 49ers. Now, this will be the 49ers' second game without Jimmy G, and this will be the Cardinals' second game with Josh Rosen as their starting quarterback. This is interesting. This is a rookie against a team that just lost a quarterback, only has 1 win on the season, mind you, and the Cardinals have 0 wins. This is why it's the crap fest, because both teams are doing real bad this year. Matt Bryant has been playing really well, though. So there's the running game to worry about on San Francisco. Okay? The Cardinals, they looked a much better team last week, and they're going to continue to improve. And they're going to continue to play better. Josh Rosen is going to show how he was one of the best quarterbacks in the draft this year, and he's going to go out there. He's going to get his first dub of his NFL career. Next, we have the Rams at the Seahawks. Now, I think we all know which direction this game is going to go, but I still have to talk about it a little bit. Seahawks played pretty well last week. Get a nice victory. Good for them. Again, it was against the Cardinals in their first game starting Josh Rosen, but still, it's a win is a win. And then there's the Rams, one of 2 undefeated teams left, them and the Chiefs, and they're playing a team that is not very good, that has been struggling this season, and I think they continue to struggle, especially since how good of a team the Rams are this year. The Rams easily get the win here. Our final game is the Redskins at the Saints. This is going to be a fun matchup here. I feel like this is going to be an interesting game. It's going to be a lot closer than I think we would expect. However, they are playing the Saints, so it is going to be a shootout here. It's going to be a lot of touchdowns here, a lot of passes, a lot of rushes. It's going to be a mainly offensive game here. Alex Smith doesn't usually go into shootouts much. He usually just throws it off to the running back or hits a tight end for a quick one, and they do the work for him. However, he might have to do more here in order to win this game. but they're playing off a team that is hot, that has Kamara, who's just destroying everyone as usual. So I think the Saints continue this trend, and they win here in a decisive victory. That is all the predictions for this week. Thank you for watching. Come back next week. It's fun time, okay? Yeah. That's all. Adios.